Okay, so nobody's getting the truth from the mainstream media, folks. It's well past time to open your eyes, your ears, and your mind. Do your own research because something isn't right here. And if you can't see that, you are not paying attention, folks.
It's the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The important message that we need Australians to get vaccinated as quickly as possible. In line with that, I do encourage all Australians to please go and book your vaccinations as soon as you can if you haven't already done so.
Emma, get away!
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Okay, we need to stand up against this tyranny, folks. Stop giving away your freedoms and liberties, because the more you give up, the more these people will take until you have absolutely nothing left. That's their agenda. All right, good evening, family. How you going? I've got to go and get that haircut, eh? One of mum's watching, should be telling me soon. Anyway, how are you? We've got a Thursday again on another week, guys, in a week of, total exposure. Again, we got so much happening. Now, as I know it, well, firstly, happy Independence Day to, the Americans over there, right? They haven't got too much independence at the moment, but I suppose that's what they're trying to get back. So, happy 4th of July, guys, and I hope it goes well for you. In Australia, we're seeing a lot, guys. I reckon their Independence Day might be a little bit interrupted with some false flags, etc. Because, wow, we're seeing it over here. Shopping centres on fire, things going down, stabbings, it's just crazy, man. But all by design, we know it. So I have heard that the US Marshals have found 200 missing kids. Now, I just hope that's right. I haven't been able to, but, and then Timothy Charles Holsmith, who is a high up admiral. The Navy's been charged with child trafficking. So, by the looks of it anyway, again, haven't triple vetted it, but it looks like it's all legit. This tornado or hurricane over there, guys, Beryl, has hit the Caribbean. And obviously, I would presume been helped by HARP, and what they're saying is that, actually, this is the first time they've ever had a big one actually before September. So what they're doing is blaming the warmer weather, which is coming back to climate change. So again, they're on the climate change scam, guys. That's what they like to do. We're having trouble. Working. Rumble's not working. No, we're having trouble going out places, guys. So I don't know what's going on. All right, the fire in Broadmeadows at Melbourne. Again, guys, this is what they're doing. We got Fatima leaving the Labor Party. We got something on her tonight. And just remember that a lot of your national parks, or a few I've seen the signs on, and they look like legit signs, but they now say in the little circles, right, no dogs, no fires, no tents, no guns, and now no people. So they are closing them off to you guys. I do believe that's true. All right, and this is what's happening. They're really coming at you. Okay, so again, that's what the show's here to do, is to let you know what's going on out there. And well, what's going on? Let's bring Cazza in and let's hit the first film clip for the day, because people, you know, we were there at the beginning, Caz, down at Canberra there, and we got to the library, and we have what we presume, and you know, it all seems to be, with snipers on the roof on the building next door when we're at the National Library. You know, we got waltzed out of there. Then we go to Epic, and then we load up on the Parliament lawns. Now, just not long ago, one of our people tried to cross the roadway there and was threatened with arrest. So, you know, we've still got people in Canberra who can't go past the boundary, the imaginary boundary line, which I actually know where it is. You know what I mean? And, yeah, they try and claim in front of that, you know what I mean, as their territory when we go to put cars there, this, that, and the other. But funnily enough, you know, then when we got to Canberra and we all grouped up, they hit us with military weapons. All right, kids, women, doesn't matter who. And then, right, anyone who even thought they may dare to, you know, confront them or walk across the road or step out of line was obviously arrested on MSU, which is make shit up, right? And then thrown in front of the courts. Now, let's go to what happened this morning and last night, guys. Well, oh, hang on, let's just keep leading into it, guys. Whilst this, you know, last night, they're having a ball, guys. They had a big ball at Parliament House. You paid for it. Taxpayers paid for it. Top chefs would have been there. Everyone would have got looked after. And that's to celebrate their 5 weeks off. So Albo got an extra, you know, whatever it was, 22 grand or something. All right. And then he's gone out for $250 lobsters. The next night, he's at Parliament House having a ball with all his poly mates, all right, to celebrate their 5 weeks off. How you going out there, folks? How you going out there? We should put that clip on first. Caz, where's that clip of that chick, Caz? Show me a fridge. There you go. I'll show you how we are, Albo.
Oh, you're so lucky. That's all we get told. This is
that's soft, Caz.
Fridge. Day out from payday. But we're the lucky country that can't afford fuel, electricity, food, anything.
All right, and then also listen to this one.
Australians, you should be absolutely up in arms right now. I've just found out that there is a group of public servants in this country that are earning over $1 million a year now. And in that same group of public servants, which is the Treasury, there are people that are getting $33,000 fucking pay rises this year. I'm sorry, we have a cost of living crisis. People can't even afford to eat or house themselves, and people in the public service are getting $33,000 fucking increase in their fucking annual salary.
We'll leave that one there. All of the rest of them will be available.
That's how we're doing, Albo, just to give you a bit of a look. The first one there, if it was very low, that volume, sorry, guys, but yeah, that was a chick showing a fridge day before payday. All right, and that's what her fridge looks like. But, you know, as I said, you know, Airbus Albo, he's got it all covered. He's got it under control, mate. He's ripping. Go, Caz.
Let's have a look at this.
Rumble's not working, guys.
There is a much wider issue here. And the issue is we've had the desecration of the war memorials, and now we've got a program, and now we have basically people managing to get through the security cordon of Parliament House. This is very serious. What we see behind there, because they're up on our roof, okay, that's where they are, right there. What they can do from there is get into the Queen's Cafe, and then they can make their way down the stairs if they wish to. There's 4 of them. They've got quite a bit of material up there with them. Last night, Kieran, we had all the politicians in one room. How convenient. You just walk through the door. And you would have had from the Leader of the Opposition to the Treasurer, to the Prime Minister, to the Minister for Defence, all in a room. And the next day, we've got people who have breached our security cordon. Now, this is, no doubt the police will do a very professional job and get them down. But by gosh, there's some serious, serious questions to answer on exactly how this came about.
Also, they could have either... There's only 2 options, really. They could have either got through the security checkpoint where you go and scan things, or they scaled or jumped off the grass area on the building onto those pillars, the top of those pillars. They could have done that. Potentially
either way, across. They're in. There is no security mechanism between where those 4 people with face masks are right now and the But yeah, they could go down to the Great Hall. They'd have to go through security doors to get into the precinct. But last night, remember, they could have just walked down to the Great Hall. They could have walked down to the Great Hall, walked into the Midwinter Ball with all the media and everybody there and gone,
are we reading it,
and I
guys?
bet you, without a shadow of a doubt, there's going to be some very bad people watching this and go, now that's interesting. They're there. They got through.
So what should be the reaction now?
Straight away you should have an inquiry and find out exactly who. You should get them down and go through them like a packet of salts, find everything out about them. Don't take it at face value. This is planned. How do they plan it?
You heard the rant.
The only thing that was missing was free-range chooks, organic carrots, and the swift parrot. It was just this mishmash of this bizarre collective of issues where you say, well, some of them are valid, some of them are crazy.
How do they get all those signs, right? Everything they had to get up there, guys, around the back onto the grass to get them up on the. You tell me there is cameras everywhere up there, guys. We can't. If our breath goes across the road, we're under arrest for MSU. You know what I mean? Yet they got all that. They had to carry it like this. Yeah, how do they, how do you just get into Parliament House and get on the roof? Come on, planned, he said. Exactly. I would ask the question, planned.
Well, yeah.
All right, where's Cazz going?
No, I agree. I think that you'll see some legislation that'll basically come down on us. You know, it's always the way.
Yeah.
Climate change activists go and nail themselves to the pavement. And what do? Legislate against us, the people. Of course it is. Yeah. So, you know, and on that,
if we'd done that, we'd be. Yeah.
Well, we've actually got this. So the Senate just voted on Hanson's amendment. Senator Malcolm Roberts and I were the only two voters who voted yes. Everyone else voted no. Now, what this amendment actually says is that it notes that fair and balanced reporting of news by journalists is crucial to supporting democracy and ensuring that Australians can participate properly in citizenship, and calls on the government to introduce the requirement that all free-to-air broadcasters provide impartial, fair and balanced reporting of all news, current affairs, and that the SBS and ABC become subscription-based services whereby Australian consumers pay an optional small annual licensing fee to access content, with the result of the cessation of public funding. Now, why did they vote to stop that?
And the other four are registered as entertainment guys. You know, they got you always, haven't they? They're only entertaining you, and that's all they're doing with the television, entertaining you. They admit it. They're registered as entertainment. They can get away with anything they want. You know, morally they can't, but under their illegal, you know, tyrannical, ridiculous, you know, so-called laws and edits and whatever else they have, they think they can. Okay, but they can't. But yeah, four of them are all, under entertainment, guys. So enjoy the entertainment that they're feeding your loved ones out there, to have them brainwashed and caught in the matrix so they can actually help to euthanize themselves and their family. What a brilliant plan they had.
All right, we've got some upcoming events. Let's get through those. We've got Take Back Our Borders. That's working on through from June to the November the 24th. When's the next upcoming date there? It must be 27th of July, I can see. Texas,
that's the one, 27th of July. Yeah, guys, try and listen in. There'll be a space going that day, a live space for it. And, let's just get people motivated. Share that around, all right? Let people know what the Yanks are doing, all right? Because as I've said and I'll keep saying, our borders are under threat too, guys. We need to get our borders back, all right? This is inspiration, all right, for us to, get motivated.
All right, the Edamaga Pub Freedom Gathering, that's on Saturday the 13th of July at 5 p.m, and there's free camping available. Now, there's a Sydney rally. There's basically the governor has the power to dissolve the government, and it's in Sydney. It's give us 7,000 plus people for 7 days, and then the tyranny stand with us at Government House, stand in silence, and that is on Mondays from 11 a.m. at Macquarie Street. And in South Australia, we have this one, educational event, noon, Saturday, 6th of July, 2024, Mosley Square at Glenelg. Glenelg,
Yep.
I think it is.
Get to that,
South
guys.
Australia.
That's if you're down in Adelaide, get to that, okay? Seriously, you need to know what's going on, all right, with your old folk and what they are, doing and what their methods and plans are, guys, how they achieve it. It'd be very, very educational for anyone in South Australia to be at that.
Very good. All right. So, Gigi Foster, she was on the spotlight. They didn't give her much. She's done a interview here, and here's a brief snippet of it with Broadbent.
The only way we're going to get accountability, an apology, and a real look back and a critical analysis of the lessons that we can learn is if people who were not involved in the policy decisions at the time actually have the main directorial role in Royal Commission or inquiry or whatever we want to call it that tries to actually conduct that kind of retrospective.
Professor Foster, I am really concerned that someone of your standing wasn't given the opportunities or was cast as someone who was negative to everything that was being said. That's how it came across to me, that they wanted to show you as this outlier.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're anything but an outlier.
Well, I appreciate that. In your eyes, maybe not, Russell, but I think in certainly the eyes of my own profession, I am. Anastasia, you may have seen, did mention that an economist she consulted with in her government was perfectly happy to go right along with the madness. And that was the case for most economists during this period. I mean, it was the case for most politicians. It was the case in most professions.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So in that sense, I mean, I think Team Sanity is still in the minority in Australia, and we certainly were at the time. And honestly, I mean, the show is sort of accurate in depicting my attitude towards a lot of the drivel that was being spouted by the people on either side of me on that panel. I mean, I did not think that what was coming out of their mouths was a true representation or a scientific analysis of what had happened.
That's
or paid.
Right. That's right. And look, just remember the price that people paid here too as well. This is Aussiebot from Aussiebot Studios. I'll bring in his thing in a minute. But how are you treated during lockdowns? I went from upstanding citizen to 54 charges, broken hand, kid taken, license taken, job taken, shop almost shut down, still constantly harassed and being dragged through the courts and threatened with jail to this day. Now, he runs Aussiebot Studios, and I'll just share screen his stuff.
But yeah, that's what we're up against.
Look, this is his designs. They're fantastic. You would have seen them about. I actually wear them. Every time I wear them at the protest rallies, I always get asked, like with my hoodie, where did I get that? I've actually got a whole heap of his cards now that I carry around to give to people so that they can actually order from him. So, yeah, and Melbourne did it a lot tougher than we did. So, yeah. And,
Well, I don't know about that. They got hit with rubber bullets. We got hit with a friggin' microwave weapon, Caz. So I don't know. I know we all say, yeah, and I do agree. Like, Melbourne got treated disgracefully, and, man, to stand up against bullets and all that bullshit that they put up with down there. But, mate, we got hit by a silent weapon that done a lot of damage to a lot of people. I know people that are still 2 years later in trouble. And still dealing with it. So, we all copped it, all of us. It was insane.
That's it. And it looks like, actually, we'll get through that before this other stuff first. So we've got this situation here.
Albo's little rogue senator, Fatima Payman, is set to quit the Labor Party today. But don't expect her to go anywhere. She's just bought a investment property in Canberra to the tune of $450,000. And guess what? You, the taxpayer, you're paying her $310 a night to stay in her own property. Now, a lot of them do it, Liberal and Labor. But what exactly is she doing for the Australian people? What, advocating for Palestine? We're going to pay her to stay in her own investment property, pay off her mortgage. Like I've said in previous posts, I don't give a rat's what side of the argument you sit on. How's this benefiting the Australian people? Why do we have to pay for this? Geez, you sure can pick 'em, Labor, eh?
Yep.
What do you think of it so far? Rubbish. Tell me the show, people. They're
And
going.
on that too, as well, the Muslims are getting organised, and they're actually going to be electing their own parliamentary members.
Party
Yeah,
is being
this is
formed
crazy.
in
I'm just putting that
Australia.
up
The
again for
Muslim
people.
vote is looking to take Labor seats that have large migrant communities. They'll be doing this primarily in Sydney, but also looking in Victoria, Queensland, Western Australia, and the ACT. A spokesperson for the Muslim Voice said, "This is about shifting power. Our votes are not for sale, but they are for lease. All future leaders should be warned not to take our community's vote for granted." This is very significant. I think personally they probably will have electoral success. They're emboldened now against the major parties, against Australians.
Now,
And-
look, they've been trying to heighten up this division for a long time. Remember, the way that the Muslim community was treated during the COVID lockdown in New South Wales, they had military helicopters flying low level over their areas. It was the Muslims that basically stood up and took the brunt of it. They were brutally treated. I think they were also up in Dandenong that were actually treated badly there as well. And we've had situations where the Muslims and the Christians have actually been marching together recently. So they are really trying to. Now, there's a whole heap of complexities regarding Palestine.
yeah.
Obviously, they're being genocided. And it's terrible. It needs to stop. There's a whole heap of complexities there that has been
They're
designed to
gonna-
actually have happen.
They're going
But
to
there's
come in
also
and go. Yeah, go on.
there's also these radical Muslims that are basically standing up, and they're saying things which are an antithesis to any kind of society, and thankfully, a lot of Muslims have actually spoken out against this kind of stuff, and we thank them for that. But it's just they're just trying to create a really hodgepodge, really bad situation here in Australia.
They're going to run the radical Muslims into Parliament by vote, who will then incite the rest of the population to do what Alice told them to do, and we are going to have some confrontation. If this goes down, guys, and I'm not racist, but I tell you, we know their game plan. It's infiltrate. It's migration. It's not immigration, it's migration, right? The migration of selected people into selected countries to do selected things, okay? Everyone's paid off. Everything's done and dusted, dealed. Okay, what we need to do is put it on show and stop it. Okay, but I'm telling you, this is exactly part of their plan. Radicalized of those type of people in our parliament with big numbers. Why they got big numbers? Because they're bringing big numbers into the country. All right? Yeah, we need to end it before it starts. Exactly right, Belinda Repton. So, guys, this is critical. They're going to push and push and push. It's all
It is not just that. The radical Muslims that they've got are basically saying that they want Sharia law. Now, Islam is not united. It's very divided. There's all sorts of, there's different factions and all that sort of stuff. But you can see now that but it shows that we're actually winning. What it does show is that we are winning, and they are really threatened. They're actually going to bring out this card now and see if they can kick off with their radical, with their radicals.
Yeah, and they'll have, the Jews and their masters, you're right. Yeah, and they'll have their Sharia law brought into their little places where they have the populations, guys. And that's how they'll sneak it in bit by bit. All right, it'll be a religious thing, and you will not be able to touch them. Okay, so this is what's coming to your doorstep.
Yeah. Now, somebody's just asked for AussieBot Studios. I think I'm going to put it here in there. Guys, when you order from them, tell them that we sent you. Okay, just say you got from us. Okay, from Guru and Cazz show.
Yeah, and Guru would love a jump up. Yeah.
Well, I really like to get him on to interview him actually because he's a lot. All right, so guys, now we've got some interesting situations here, and they all tie in together. First of all, we've got this very interesting advert. Now, I wonder what they could need these people for, Dave. What do you reckon? So,
I don't know.
Pro-vaccine TVC, $900 per person. So,
something I wouldn't try and do is, maybe us people ring up and try and infiltrate that and see if we could actually get on the panel. You know what I mean? And then get right through to the filming stage and then tell them the truth on camera. That could probably upset their little schedule. But anyway, guys, who's a good undercover sleuth? Give it a go. $900 plus GST, Cazz, but it's $1,000. $1,000.
Yeah. No, well, yeah. And the thing is that, you could actually take your own recording devices in, and that would be a terrible thing to do, wouldn't it? I
Yeah,
mean,
it would.
I would never like. I mean, I'm just saying that if somebody did that, it would be really bad. So don't do that. Whatever you do. All right, but on the rev up of that, we've got this.
Moderna is leading the race to develop a new bird flu vaccine. The US government tipping in more than $250 million to help produce a new vaccine with the same mRNA technology used to fight against COVID-19. While bird flu vaccines already exist, this version could be rolled out quicker in the case of a pandemic. Pfizer also has a vaccine in trials.
But wait,
Well,
there's
isn't that
more.
convenient? Wait, there's more. Wait.
Hens, roosters, and anyone in the bird community. On the advice of Dr. Kerry Chicken, we have decided on guidelines to ensure that all birds stay safe with the current bird flu outbreak. Firstly, all flock gatherings are limited to 5 birds per flock, and all birds must practice social distancing, flying at least 5 metres apart. I know this one might ruffle a few feathers, but all chickens are now required to wear masks at all times. Whether you're outside laying eggs or free-ranging in the field, you must be wearing a mask. All chickens and birds must remain within a 5-kilometre radius of their coops, your nests and trees. If caught outside your 5 kilometres of the paddock, you will be fined $1,000. The feed store is off limits unless it's for essential grains only. There is to be no browsing in your local feed aisles. We'd like to encourage all birds to keep their peckers and claws sanitised regularly. If you see a chicken breaking any of these restrictions, we ask the public to please call Crime Stoppers at 1300-BIRD-CRIME.
There you go, guys. There you go.
We need that.
And be careful, because if you're on the North Shore, you may have a fire in your house to actually fry a chicken or do something like that, cook a chicken. Who knows what you're doing with your chickens, but don't let smoke go up that chimney, guys. Do not do it, because someone's going to put you in. They're going to get them. They're going to get money for doing it. All right, and then you're going to be in court for having a fire.
Well, look at this, Dave. Somebody's asked the question: just who tested the worm? So that's when dies of H1N1 bird flu. Health officials are very concerned and may declare a state of emergency.
I think it's time for everyone to ring up their neighbour and dobby them into Crime Stoppers for their chooks with no masks on. I reckon that's what Crime Stoppers need to cop. Even folk, my next door neighbour, their birds around me, they've got no masks. They're all clumping together. No one's sorting the eggs. Yeah. Give them a bit of their own.
Yeah. Look, this guy's got a really good take on it. Listen to this.
One time that the government told a bunch of people to take an experimental drug, and a bunch of people did, and then it didn't work, and so the government said, well, you need to do it again, and they did it again, and then the government said, you know what, it's not working because other people aren't joining the experiment, so take it a third time. And they took it a fucking third time, and then they started getting mad at the people who didn't fall for that fucking shit. Hey, you remember that?
You gotta laugh.
Look, the news is just so crazy. It is just unbelievable. Just to basically change topics a bit, you've also got this situation where George magazine, thank you for your patience. We finally have it. Joe Biden and Hunter Biden are owned by the CCP. They lied to the American people. Now he's got all of the digital receipts of the transfers. So that is actually really quite well. Yeah, it's all sort of coming out. And on the heels of that, Trump's actually posted a video. I didn't include it because it's quite long and we're short on time every night. And but it's the best is yet to come. And
it'll be on the website.
It's a snippet from the video, but yeah, he's basically posted that. So we've got, there's a whole heap of things coming out, as well as that. You've got Candace Owens. She's come out and she said it has now been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris cheated in the 2020 election with the mail-in ballots. The Democrats, in collusion with big tech and the state TV, were the real insurrectionists all along.
Mate, it's just a joke. It's just a clown show. Anyway,
it is. It's unbelievable. Like, you've never lived through this. Everyone will look back at this time and go, how crazy it all was. Yeah. So you've got this as well. So this is the Attorney General, Andrew Bailey, and he's he's saying, breaking, I have filed a suit against the state of New York for hijacking the presidential election by illegally scheming to jail their presidential opponent, President Trump. New York is waging war on American democracy, and Missouri will not let it stand. So it's the state of Missouri versus the state of New York. So, like, it's full on lawfare at the moment.
Mate, it is lawfare, all right. It's absolutely ridiculousness, and people are waking up to it, all right, and they're not getting away with what they like to be getting away with, and we're exposing them, and that's what this show's all about, to bring the idiocracy to light, guys. You know what I mean? You know, like, how dare they? The way the Australian people have been treated while their immigrants are getting red carpet and the politicians are getting pay rises and balls, and, you know, we got people running over Parliament House, yet we get hit with weapons. You know, it's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. The government hates you, folks. Have you worked it out yet? That they just don't like you much. They don't want you here.
That's it. All right. So you've got also this. It's happening everywhere, though, because there's this British lady, and she's talking about what's going on in the medical system.
At what stage does the panel and people think this country has had enough? That we should close the borders, completely close the borders, because it's got to the stage now there's no education, schooling, infrastructure. It's enough. We are sinking. Surely someone's got to see common sense and say enough is enough. You've got people flooding into this country that cannot speak English. I come from London. In the National Health Service, everything's written in different languages. How much is that costing? How much is it costing for the interpreters? Sorry, madam. How much is it costing for the interpreters? I was in hospital last week. The interpreter never turned up for the people who couldn't speak English. She was paid. They all had to go on, and all the radiologists stood around doing nothing. What sort of country is allowing this? What sort of country is allowing this tourism to come in? You arrive in a plane, you get free service, you can have your babies, you can just carry on having it all for free. Why haven't they got points set up in the hospitals and you pay like you do in every other country you go to? You wouldn't turn up in America and be allowed to go for free.
Now, they're finding it really hard. That was from the BBC. That was equivalent to one of our panels here that the ABC runs. But what I'm finding is it's happening everywhere. People are basically jack of it all.
Yep.
And the people are riled up. They have lost control of the narrative. And Cliff High and his webbots forecasted the loss of the narrative, where they were unable to control the narrative anymore.
Yeah, and we're there, Caz, now. You know, they can't control it. And this is whichever way, whatever way it's laid out and it goes, guys, you know. But yeah, under numerous ways, whether it be the executive orders or just that people, you know, have had enough. But, you know, the power stops for them, guys, when they no longer have power. When the belligerent occupation no longer has power, they're no longer in power. Well, the only way to make them not in power is to don't give them what you're giving them. All right, don't do it, guys. Stop. Get out of Coles. Get out of Woolworths. Stop doing your rates. Stop doing your tax. Stop doing this. Stop doing that. Make your decisions. I'm not telling you to do that. You need to make your decisions, but you know where the decision is. All right? This is not about you, anyone my age. This is about your kids, your grandkids, all right, and us getting this evil out of the world. So, yeah, guys, this is serious shit.
And you can see it as well, because there's actually like protests like this. They're actually singing out "Arrest Bill Gates." Now,
So
you know,
that's it.
a few years ago, that like you'd never be able to convince people that Bill Gates was a bad guy. It was always, oh, Bill Gates, he was so wonderful. And so they've lost control of the narrative. And that is, you know, that's incredible.
Yeah, no, certainly is.
All right, you've got this guy's a comedian. I like what his take.
They're going to be super
Funny how people ring
confused
me
when
I'm
they
live,
show
Caz,
up,
but anyway,
threatening
I can ring
to
him back in a
overthrow
minute.
our leaders, and we're all stoked and off. Aliens are going to be super confused when they show up, threatening to overthrow our leaders, and we're all stoked and offer to help.
Oh dear.
The comedy show goes on. The comedy show goes on.
Yeah. All right. So now we've got this interesting thing with this Bouvier Island, and there's somebody's been tracking it.
This is very interesting, guys.
Watch. That dot is Bouvet Island. What are they fucking doing? What the fuck? What the fuck?
But it gets crazier.
That's projected in the future because today's not Sunday or Monday yet. But like, look at it radiating out. Oh my god, y'all. Oh my god. What the fuck are they doing? Look at the fingers coming out.
Had a few earthquakes here.
It's crazier.
I posted a couple of days ago about Bouvet Island having a 5.6 earthquake. So I looked up when it had had previous earthquakes, quite a few, all at 10 kilometers deep. Hello, blob, that made Bouvet famous. Google Maps now says uninhabited place, covered by glacier. I wonder if it was always like that. This map by Paul Carroll shows it quite green. Oh, look, it's a little baby picture from millions of years ago, when Bouvet was a twinkle in the eye of the tectonic plates. What a handsome island with a natural landing pad. These men went there. Can you imagine voyaging to our island? Rough landing, but they did see these guys and climbed to a tall place where they planted a time capsule. Eventually. Remember, on Google Earth, it doesn't have a name if you just zoom in, and it strangely disappears. Poof! At 2017 to 2022, I thought I want a picture, so I got some satellite images. It's so cloudy, but the prettiest clouds you've ever seen. Some look strange without the clouds. Not sure what this is. Oh, look. Is it a tic-tac? Oh, a bright beach. You won't unsee this. But what are these? Birds, I'm sure. Oh, by the way, Blue Verse Sky showed a heat map of Steam players from all over the world, and look where there's one. I'm sure it's just a VPN, but it's a lovely thought to think our island isn't so lonely. See you in the comments. Take care.
Interesting. So what is going on
It is.
there?
Well, yeah, there's a lot that could be going on there. I haven't had time to look into it, Caz, but that lady's done a pretty big deep dive. And if you get onto that at Clamham radio or whatever it was there on the screen, and follow her, guys. Clamham, yeah, is great, right? So get onto her and follow her because she's all over it. Okay, absolutely all over it. And these are the people we need to utilize so we can get some sort of explanation in our head, for people. So we know what we're talking about, guys. So, yeah.
That's it. All right, I'll just brush through the last couple of things really quickly. So Portugal has the highest COVID-19 vaccination rate in the world. That was 23,921. And on the 19th of January, 24, Portugal registers the highest levels of excess death in Europe. So there's no correlation there at whatsoever, Dave. It's just a conspiracy theory if you actually say that.
Another coincidence. The world's full of coincidences. It's just unbelievable.
We're coincidence theorists. Yeah. All right, and there's this as well. The Archbishop Vignana, he has been told he has to attend the Vatican, and he has refused. So he's basically saying, I'm not going there. And I don't think I blame him because he's been speaking out against the things that the Vatican seem to be a part of.
He just might get out of the Vatican, yeah.
All right. And the BBC is reporting that the richest family is on trial for human trafficking. Okay. So now these people actually brought in, they had people that they were basically enslaved.
Really?
So it was,
hello.
Are you there, Kate?
Yeah. What's that? Can you not hear me?
Major Guru to Cazz. Ground control to Major
No, we're having issues everywhere.
We're having issues, man.
You might be, I'm not.
No,
you might be. I'm not. Yeah.
Oh, my
All
Wi-Fi
right.
and everything's good, but someone's playing up with us.
All right. Well, look, I'll let you wrap up the show. And actually, I was supposed to bring in something. Actually, no, I didn't get that. There was something you wanted played as an outro, but whatever it was, I didn't get it. But we've got Tucker Carlson taking us out on his take on Australians, and
That's
it's
all
good for us to remember who we are.
Okay, well, look, and this might get us shut down, guys, all right? But, we need protection, all right? We need you to find out where in your neighbourhood you can hear this noise. Because they do that when they sleep. But what we've got to know is if these chooks are not obeying the rules and they're actually sleeping together, unmasked, all right, just spreading this shit around, all right, just for our benefit so that we don't have chooks and eggs and that to eat, I think the phone call to Crime Stoppers needs to be made. So your mission tonight is to get out, snoop around, have a look, listen for the that's what they like to do while they're sleeping. If you can find them, ring Crime Stoppers, because I'm guaranteeing you, I've not seen one chook at a chemist getting a mask. I've not seen one chook getting a PCR test, and I've not seen one chook turning up at the hospital for anything. So they're not playing the game, and they're not obeying the rules.
And if your neighbour tries to borrow an egg off you, please report them.
Yeah, that's it. You can't do that. It's like Crime Stoppers need to be involved in this chook. This is serious, guys. All right, okay. Non-complying chooks. It's like, whoever thought we'd get to here, Caz, with non-complying chickens.
I don't know. It's just very concerning, isn't it?
See you tomorrow night, guys.
Good night.
I am honored to be here. I never thought I would be here. I love the Australians shouting. I don't know anything that you're saying, but I know that I would agree. Well, thank you. This is my last night in Australia. I've been here 2.5 weeks. This is my 7th city, and I'm just absolutely in love with your country, and I mean that. And I will be back. I've spent my whole life thinking about coming here. I'm 55, so that's like 50 years. And I grew up in a country that just idolized Australia. We just loved it. Everything about. I grew up in a surf community. We thought you're surfers, all of whom were named Shane, I think, at the time. We thought they were the coolest. We thought all of your women were like Elle Macpherson. Like every woman in Australia looks like Elle Macpherson. And that everybody in Australia is attacked by some sort of deadly animal every day of the week and thinks nothing of it. And that's all kind of true, I've decided. It's all sort of true. It's the most beautiful country I've ever been to, the most lightly populated. And it has functional cities, which is something I'm not used to at all. In where I live, it's like it's incredibly beautiful, but you have to escape the cities. Here, you go to the cities, and they're great. You're like, I could live here if I could afford it, which I can't. I love your profanity, not all of which I understand, but it's used liberally. Words we don't have, I'm not going to repeat them. I repeated them the other night to people. They're like, oh, that's a bad word. I was like, we don't even have that word. I have no idea what it means. It's like swearing in Mandarin. It doesn't offend me, And I think I, above all, like, if I'm being honest, this is a little syrupy, but I'm leaving tomorrow, so I'll just be honest. But I love how much you love animals. I just love that. And it's a very Anglo quality. It's part of the culture that we share, all derived from the UK. But I've never seen it at this scale. And before I came here, I had heard a million accounts of many people who had come here who would say, that old cliche about how every animal in Australia is looking to kill you. That's all true. And the Australians aren't bothered by it. That turns out to be true also. But it's deeper than that. I thought it was just bravery and sort of devil-may-care nonchalance, which is clearly true, but it's also like such a profound love of animals. The other night, 2 nights ago, we were having dinner, and people were telling me about your magpies and how they dive bomb people. And this woman said, I didn't know if this was like one of those drop bear or hoop snake stories designed to like scare the foreigners, or I didn't know if they were being serious, because in my country, magpies are just chirpy birds, but here they're deadly. And she's telling me how the male men, posties, I think she called them, wear helmets with spikes on top to keep the birds off. And I'm like, that's not real. Oh, it's totally real. And then she shows me videos of it. I'm like shocked by the whole thing. And then she goes, they're highly intelligent. I was like, yeah, you should shoot them. And then you just kill like the first year's worth, and all the other magpies will get together and be like, let's leave the mailman alone, because they're smart. This woman looked at me like I was a child molester or a freak. She's like, shoot them? No. And I said, in my country, I love animals. I live with animals, but I also hunt birds. But our rule is, if the animal's trying to kill you, that's a violation of the creation contract as outlined in Genesis 2, which is you have dominion over them. Like, they're not, we can all live kind of peacefully together, but if you try and kill me, then I have to, fight back. And having free will and opposable thumbs, like, I'm going to win. And this woman looked at me, honestly, like I was a monster. Like, no. And then that reminded me of a conversation I had the week before where this guy's telling me how he found a brown snake in his garage. And I was like, the brown snake, like the world famous, like second most poisonous snake in the world? He goes, yeah. And I thought, if I found a brown snake in my garage, well, I'd burn the garage down, obviously, immediately. I just toss a cup of gasoline in there and torch it. It's well worth it, insured or not. And then I'd call the army to kill all the other, brown snakes don't live alone. They're produced by other brown snakes. And obviously, we need to commit brown snake genocide just for our own survival. I said, and I'm not joking at all. And I said, what'd you do? He goes, my wife tossed me a broom and I shoot it out. And he wasn't kidding at all. And I realized these are people who love animals so much that killing them is like not only a last resort, it's like kind of horrifying. It's horrifying. And I thought, what a wonderful and true reflection of the character of the country, because love of animals is the beginning of decency.